Welcome to Real Estate is Crazy.
Welcome, guys.
Episode 3.
Yes, super excited.
Christina is over here excited because we've got Benny Charles with Pivot Real Estate here.
Yeah. Hi, Benny.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
We're going to share some fun stuff, and we've got a rant of the week. Christina?
Yeah. So you guys know
She's
that
pissed.
I am so right now. I'm so pissed. If I see another $1 million listing with pictures taken from an iPhone, I'm going to lose my mind.
But real estate's easy right now.
Real estate's never easy.
But you don't have to do anything to sell a home. They sell themselves. There's buyers everywhere.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't do stuff to help sell a home.
Sorry, my
It's
sarcasm is bad. I should stop.
Absolutely. I know. I'm going to pull these up and Brandon's going to show these to you guys on the screen. It's ridiculous. So why don't you guys look at this and tell me what you see? Tell me what you see right there.
Oh,
The
I looked at
ladder?
that one
A
earlier, yeah.
ladder. It's a freaking ladder
Wait,
in
what's
the
that?
kitchen.
But, you
Is that a
know,
glove?
It is.
on the
It's they
ground?
were doing work.
all I can
clearly.
see is how bad their sconces are over their island, you know?
But
yeah.
look,
And a drop cloth.
and a drop cloth.
Yeah.
It's not a bad looking kitchen, right? It's a
Well,
good looking kitchen.
okay.
Why would you take a picture like that?
I have to add to your rant really
Oh
quick.
my
That's
God.
one thing, but then when you go to the property to tour it and the ladder's still there with the drop cloth,
Oh,
like
that's true.
that's the ultimate sin.
I don't know. It's just, and then, all right, now take a look at this one. This is the next one. Tell me what you see. See if you catch it.
1 second. It's all the bushes
It's
on
it's
the
a
house.
Google map.
Oh yeah,
They
used to
didn't
Google
even
Maps.
No, they
take.
did
Well, they
not.
used it and they didn't crop it.
They didn't even go
Wow.
to the property and at least have the decency to take a picture with their phone.
That's illegal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a
It's a
violation,
huge violation.
of MLS rules. Yeah.
Really?
That's a big
Well, but
fine.
then again,
Oh,
not all
dang.
MLSs are equal. Some of
Well-
them probably don't. I mean, that's probably from.
Oh man, that,
know,
you
the
learn
Appalachian-
something new every single day. I did not know
yeah.
that. So you cannot use Google Maps screenshots on your listing photos, you guys. You're gonna knock it off.
Well, it has to be original photography. Is really
Wow.
yeah.
Well, this is original photography. Tell
Yeah,
me what you
right.
see.
Oh, is that a converted garage?
No, he's literally giving you the finger up in the top left-hand corner of the
That
photo.
just means he's had it on the market too long. He's
I mean,
angry. Nobody's
stop
offering.
it. Stop it. Listen, it is not that expensive. You figure like what's the average sales price in San Diego? 700,000 right now?
Oh gosh, it's
850.
$950. Yeah.
Oh, isn't it?
Well,
I'm
the
way
median
off.
is $1
like, all
million.
right, I'm thinking Logan Heights. But if you're listing a property, the agent's getting, on average, like 2% low or 2.5%.
How cheap are they?
I know.
To cheap out on
I'm just-
photos.
I'm like 4%.
Okay.
Well, no, service is everything.
Service is everything.
Yeah.
But I'm saying even if you're getting crappy service and they are charging a low end fee, you're still netting enough money on your commission to pay $300, $400 for professional photography.
So I pay for photography upfront myself. I
Yeah.
never ask to be reimbursed for it.
yeah.
But the other thing is that I usually do it even in advance of a listing agreement
Oh,
because it ties them in to,
yeah.
at least talking to me that one last time before they choose another agent,
That's a
which
great
happens
idea.
too often.
I agree with you. That's what I do as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tell them I need to set the appointment because my photographer is so busy.
Yeah,
Yes,
well, I mean,
it is
no.
true. They are
The
busy.
truth is, well, we're talking with Brandon over here. Brandon's my main man, and he's busy, but not too busy. He's perfect, in my opinion.
We're going to leave Brandon's information in the show notes because he's amazing at taking photos. And if you're an agent that's taking crappy photos on your phone, you need to knock it off.
Well,
like
for
now.
$250, it's just ridiculous that you
Yeah.
would try and save that money. It's basically saving money in spite of your client's best interest.
Exactly.
All right, so we're ranting a little bit over here. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit sad because I see so many buyers running around these days, and I see them at houses, open houses, or sometimes
Yeah.
just on private tours, and I can see how frustrated they are with the market, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of them are just wasting their time.
Yeah.
Because the market's moving fast and they're not moving fast with it. I posted on Facebook this morning, if you're standing still in this market, you're actually walking backwards because the dollar's losing value, the interest rates on mortgages have gone up and they're going to go up more. We know that.
Yeah.
So it's more about making practical decisions for the right reasons. And I feel like agents are not representing their clients well. Sorry, guys. I'm
Yeah.
seeing you out there. I'm
Shame,
seeing
shame,
you.
shame.
So that's my rant. But we're here to talk about death,
Yeah.
a little bit more bright subject
Jump right
today.
in. You just
Whoa.
jumped right into that.
Well, death
Jeez.
and life are very closely related until you realize death is at your door.
Death and taxes.
Well, the truth is you could die anytime.
Yeah. That
Sad,
is
but
true.
true.
It is true.
Sad, true. We have Benny here, and Benny lost a client.
Two clients.
But the most recent one, were you in escrow?
Both times.
Both times.
This year.
God,
This year.
So I want to
this
laugh,
year?
but it's sad because they died.
Oh my
Well,
God.
it's simple. Do not list your home with me, or you're gonna die.
Oh, my
Don't advertise
God.
that.
Wait, knock on
Benny
wood,
is not the
knock
death
on wood.
agent.
Oh, so that's messed up.
Oh no.
You know, it's complicated. I know I've had a
Yes.
few clients die. Two clients die during listings or escrows.
I've never had a client die. This is like unbelievable to me.
I mean, death happens.
The most important thing right now is how you hold title and have a trust made.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, kind of real estate 101 as far as we're concerned here. But
Yeah.
it's amazing to me when I come across high net worth people who don't have a trust.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is. Prince didn't have a trust. Prince, the
You think
singer
he's
Prince.
exempt, right? But no,
No,
he's not.
and his whole, all of his assets had to go through probate.
Oh
It was
my
a fight.
gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Of
Some
course.
people wanted, yeah.
I mean,
that's
how
the
many
problem.
children come out of the woodworks?
Everybody
when
comes
things
out of
like
the
that
woodwork when
happens?
there's an estate on the table. It's just
Yes.
sad.
And
It's
people
sad
get
how
mean and they get nasty.
American greed shows its ugly face in those situations.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think, real estate agents who deal with probate really, really have a lot of gall.
God bless him.
You've done some probate.
I have.
I mean, willingly, without them dying in escrow and having to do
Yeah.
Oh, you
probate
mean
in
on
a
the
rush.
buyer side?
Yeah.
On the buyer side, I have.
I'm talking about just dealing with a probate transaction.
Yeah, it's a lot more work for the listing agent.
A lot of emotions involved, I think, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like a divorce transaction.
Yeah,
You're dealing with people at a very bad time.
Like, what happened in your situation? I mean, how did you deal with that? How did you move everyone forward and calm the storm? Because it's not something that's predictable. So it must have.
So
uprooted.
the first one happened in, I want to say January this year. Great guy.
Both of these happened this year?
This year.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
so Benny's death streak is over, folks. If you want to work with him, there's no more death
Yeah,
in Benny's
I don't
pipeline.
think-
He's got it all out of his
we
system.
need to sage you.
Yeah. So the first one, I was very lucky because the sister of the deceased, she actually worked for a probate attorney.
Oh wow. Okay.
convenient.
So, she's
So-
able to step in and help.
Too
She
convenient.
stepped right in, didn't charge anybody anything.
Oh,
'Cause
wow.
There's a lot of money.
That's a
probate people.
lot of money
At
on the
least like
table.
$3,000 just to get the
Oh, it's
basics
way,
filed.
yeah, it's
yeah.
way more than that.
Yeah.
But as
Before
far
you
as
hire an executor and all that stuff.
the
yeah.
percentages they get.
Wow.
And so she did it for free, but she got it from start to finish closed in 3 weeks.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay. That's
That was
that's
completely
incredible.
unusual. Yeah.
It's an ex parte hearing is what they
Yes.
call that in order to get into the judge faster than you
Yes.
normally would.
The second one, husband and wife, they're elder. The husband's been passed, so that he's been passed for a few years.
Yeah.
The wife had a conservatorship because she wasn't doing well. She was in a room or a house, and the brother was doing all the work. We're going through the whole thing in escrow, and then we found out the way they held title, that the husband portion had to go through probate.
Oh no.
So that
It
was
was a
taken.
half probate deal.
Half a probate deal. Okay, which is the same thing as a full probate.
Yes.
So he was going through probate, and it was supposed to take a couple months. Well, here we were 6 months later.
Well, and she already had a conservatorship, so she wasn't making her own decisions.
Nope. So she was good. Her brother took care of her. We're going through the whole process, and she passes.
Wow.
So now the conservatorship is worthless.
Oh no.
So who makes decisions at that point? A whole new third party?
It has to
We
go through
are
another
now going to
probate.
find out because the lawyer said that this contract is
Null and void.
null and
Oh
void.
yeah. Oh, that's the one that I had in 2017. The contract was null and void. We were at the closing table. Buyers had signed their loan documents. I represented the seller. Sweet woman. In fact, her daughter Virginia is going to see this. She's a sweetheart. But Noli did not tell me that she was ill. And we went through this entire process, and I actually sent, the escrow sent a notary to the hospital. And I was like, to the hospital? And apparently she didn't have the capacity to sign at that point.
no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so we basically pulled the rug out from under a buyer. It was the worst feeling in my entire
Yeah.
life that they could not consummate that transaction. And then I think like, gosh, that's 5 years of crazy growth. I hope they bought a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Your heart just goes out to
It does.
everybody in
It
those
does.
situations.
Honestly, I mean, I did make some financial contribution to them just because I felt horrible.
Yeah.
But I was not at fault, but I felt at fault.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I would say.
Well, because you have a good heart. You care about people. And when something goes like
people are
wrong
paramount.
like this and you can't control it.
Well, and it's funny because we deal with people, and a lot of times on the opposite side of the transaction, they get really fierce and they start showing their teeth and becoming less than human. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, we all fight the same battles, and we need to see similarities in each other, and we need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
As an industry, I see too much bickering between agents.
Oh, yeah.
Way too much.
And they can make or break a deal. The agents make or break the deal. We either can keep the client calm and make it go through, or we can be our own worst enemies.
They don't call it cooperating broker compensation for no reason.
Yeah, it's true.
Because if there's no cooperation, there's usually no compensation.
Yeah, it's awful.
So you're still waiting.
Yeah, we're still waiting. I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to find out. But according to the lawyer, the deal's dead.
Well, there's heirs. How many heirs are there?
There's quite a few. So it's just...
It's going to be messy. They're going to basically choose a new broker. You're going to even lose it.
I would say I'm going to be out of deal, which whatever. I'm not worried
well,
about
of course.
that.
No, you're a solvent business person.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter to you to lose the deal. You care about what's best for the people.
100%.
Yeah.
You know?
So what can people do to, I mean, we know what people can do to avoid this, but let's talk to the public just so they become aware of the steps they need to put in place to make sure that they're protected.
Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A trust is the
how you hold
easiest thing.
title,
Yeah.
form a trust, and have a will. Okay, those three things.
Most people
Everything
think that
goes into the trust, right?
will-
Like my mom just said she's putting her Tesla in the trust.
For sure, no.
And I'm like,
yes.
Well, it's
yeah,
because
put
it's
the
growing
Tesla
in
in
value,
the trust.
probably.
Yes, please.
It's an asset now. Every used car is an asset.
I'm like,
That's
why was I
weird.
not on that group chat with my sisters about my mom? They're all talking about my mom's like, oh, I'm putting it in this or the other
Oh,
trust.
don't worry.
And I'm
My
like,
brothers do the same thing for me. Yeah, I know you're listening. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry.
but yeah, everything that's important that holds value should go
Well,
into
I
that
think
trust.
people get a will and they think it's enough. They form
no,
a will.
No, there's a certain limit of what a will covers.
That's
I
right.
forgot the loan amount. I forgot the amount. It was not very much. So.
No.
No, it's not appropriate for real property, is my
Not-
understanding.
yes.
Right.
So, that's what the trust is for. The trust also depicts and determines a few things that are really, really important that a will or a title vesting could never do.
Right. So you can write down for a will, I want my necklace to go to so-and-so. I want this to go to this. But you can't write down, I want my house to go to my boyfriend, Fred, and have that hold any value.
Well, it gets more complicated.
Yeah.
If Fred
Yeah.
can show vested interest, there may be
Right.
an issue there.
Fred
but
has no vested interest.
It
Let's
depends
say
who Fred is. And is Fred dead? No, Fred's
is
not
Fred
dead.
alive?
Yeah.
And if Fred's dead
Then you're good.
and he holds a vested interest, then we have to deal with Fred's children.
If Fred's children know that he had a
Descendants.
vested interest. Otherwise,
Oh my
that interest
gosh.
could disappear or be surrendered to the other party.
It can get messy.
Okay, so people die. It happens. People die in escrow is really, really sad and kind of freak, right? Because
Yeah.
you're selling a property or buying a property.
Right.
You don't expect that you're not going to last through that transaction. So I imagine the families in these situations are very, very, very distraught.
Yeah.
And they relive everything.
That's right.
You know, the feelings come back. The sadness comes back. It's sad.
Stages
Yeah.
of grief. It's a real thing. Yeah. I find people grieving that they didn't buy a house 2 years ago. I mean, really, they're literally still in the grieving process.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
got-
they don't know what to do about it because they're so upset with themselves and they're sad and they're angry. And then sometimes they want to blame us. Like, why didn't you push me hard enough to buy? And it's like, dude, I pushed you as far as I could without, begging.
It's interesting because pushing someone to buy is what we try to lean away from.
Yeah, exactly.
But it needs to happen. It's actually really important for a lot of buyers to get that pressure from their agent because they may not make those decisions in a timely manner if they don't. I call it a healthy sense of urgency.
That's true. No, you're helping them out.
Well, you don't want to be like, go super fast, but
Yeah.
you want to move fast when it's needed.
It is a
right?
delicate balance.
Oh, my wife could tell you about all the people who, when it's time to move fast and it's 8:00 at night and I'm trying to get something signed, she's like, who are you cursing now? I'm just like, they told me they were going to sign 5 minutes ago.
And you're just watching it.
Well, I mean, time kills deals, especially in real estate right now.
Yeah.
It's a scary time. Minutes matter. That's what I preach.
Yeah. And then when you don't hear anything, that awkward silence, you're like, something's wrong. my real estate senses are going off.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And then
You
we
know?
have to have a heart to heart. I carve out about an hour every night, 8 to 9 p.m., just to have those real,
Like if someone
Talk
takes
people off
longer
the
than a
ledge.
few hours to get like a realtor to
Uh-huh.
get a counter back, you're like, ooh, you are so putting in offers on other properties. Sneaky,
You just
sneaky,
know.
sneaky. You just know.
Well, that's actually, you're not supposed to do that without being transparent to the listing agents.
They're never
But so
transparent.
many
You just
people
sense
do it.
it.
It's one of those loose things in this business. Just happens all the time. Happens all the time.
Well, I think that there's just no way to know. I was going to say, if I wish there was like a disclosure you could ask, like, what's the health of your client before you put this offer in? But you can't do it.
Save that for presidential candidates.
That's against every rule that we have.
Can we get a physical, please? It sounds very life insurance-y.
It does.
Yeah, we could kind of meld our
Is there
industries.
a trust?
Well,
Something
that's
happens?
okay. That brings in a funny topic: reverse mortgages. Don't they technically gamble on whether or not a borrower is going to die?
100%.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
It's a total gamble.
Yeah.
It's actually an insurance company more than a mortgage lender.
Yeah. In a sense.
They actually have a very simple calculation. I learned this from my guy Jack Diamond. I'll plug you, Jack. Don't worry. Basically, if they're 70 years old, you can go to 70% loan to value. If they're 80 years old, you can go to 80% loan to value. If they're 90 years old, you can go to
Really?
90%
That
loan
sounds
to
like
value.
age discrimination.
No, if we're 50, we should go to 50% loan of value.
Well, but how many
Sure.
people at the age of 50
55.
get a reverse mortgage and
I
have
would do it in a heartbeat.
I don't blame you. I
would.
think Benny responds well to offers of convenience. If we
When I-
make his life easier,
No, it wouldn't,
Yeah.
because I would still continue to invest outside for the kids and the family.
yes.
But if my bills are gone, that'll allow me to do that.
Yeah.
It's amazing what bills being gone will do to you emotionally.
Right.
Like
Yes.
even if it's dollar for dollar the same, like you're freed up.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a client right now. He's selling, and that's what we're going to do. He's paying off everything.
Just clear out
And
his
this
mind.
next house is his forever retirement, like in a 55 and up community. And the weight that he's going to have, just like not having that stress of the credit cards and the car payment and all
Well,
that.
and
anymore.
that
It's gonna
is America right now. If you're talking about the consumer debt levels, we're climbing again, right? There's a lot of money out there, and money's less and less inexpensive. So we're talking about times where you're going to have to be creative, right? Like San Diego's really expensive already, and with these recent price hikes, like we as independent people have to make that much more money. It's not easy to live here already.
Well, San Diego is voted the most expensive place to live in the U.S. Compared to as far as the income.
Holistically.
The whole thing. It was.
Well,
number
what
one.
I will tell you is that the secret is out. San Diego, I think for about 10 years between 2010 and 2020 was kind of just undervalued. I think that it just wasn't really appreciated by anybody. And now we've had this upward correction, which I keep saying, we just had an upward correction. People are like, what do you mean? The market just corrected itself.
Yeah.
Property just became worth more very fast because it was determined that it was worth more. It's not fake real estate mortgages like we had in 2008.
Oh, yeah.
It's an upward correction.
I like that term. That's a good term.
I mean, it helps people gain the perspective they need because everybody's trying to figure out what the market's going to do next.
Yeah.
Anything can put a rift in the market.
I'm as clueless. I mean, there's so many variables. Okay. We're going to be touching lots of real estate agents in lots of different states. And I think as this episode gets some viewership, we'd like to know in your markets, what's happening now that interest rates have gone up, 1.5%, sometimes I think 2% difference between what they could have locked 60 days ago and what they could lock today. Like that's a crazy hike in prices.
Yes.
When I say prices, I mean what it costs monthly to own a home. And San Diego didn't really feel that very much. Some of the entry level neighborhoods, I think a little bit more because you got a little more low down payment borrowers, right?
Yeah.
But this interest rate hike did not affect us near as much as I hoped it would. That tells me that the demand that we have is pure.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know though, because I think it can depend on the area. Like when you have, I have the listing in Fallbrook, and it definitely affected us because who's buying an $800,000 or $900,000 house in Fallbrook?
Yes.
And So now you have people that were buying $900,000 houses and interest rates go up, and that
It's like $400
and you
a
have,
month.
Yeah.
special assessments out there which affect the payment. So it took people from 900,000 down to the low eights, and then we
It's
lost a huge buyer pool.
crazy.
And everything going on. It's just
Maybe some of that data won't be out for a couple months.
Yeah,
I
it
think
takes a
that's
little time for that
probably
stuff to
true.
come
And
out.
we'll talk about it more, but I think that the market is subject to so many different things. Nobody can truly predict what's going to happen. And what we have right now is unprecedented. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's one thing nowadays, the listing agent is actually calling me after a viewing. So that tells me it's
There you go. He wants to know some
getting
feedback
those
because his
calls.
seller needs to know. You know, want to know why? It's
Yes.
mostly because he probably told his seller he could get him more, and the seller's breathing down his neck because he didn't get them the offers he promised. It's a very touchy thing, managing expectations in our business. We're going to talk about that more too. All right. Benny, hopefully none of your people die from here on out.
Yeah,
Man,
I know.
no.
But at least you know how to handle it. If something happens,
I'm
you know
not
how
an
to-
expert
you know how
yet.
to handle it.
We could plug for a good probate attorney. You mentioned one.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll consider that later. We'll put him through the ringer before we recommend anybody.
No, she's
here.
awesome. I can pull her up right now if you give me
Well,
a
no,
second.
we'll post it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
post
post
it.
the information in the show notes so that everybody have access.
It
has
is.
access,
It's just
and
so
we'll tag
important.
her in the videos.
I may start for all my buyers, since our prices are so high like we're talking about, I might just start buying trust from my buyers. That's how important it is.
You know what? I actually really like that as a
I
value
love that
add
idea.
incentive.
Yeah.
I have a probate attorney partner, Christina White. She's amazing. We will post her. She does, I think, a $1,700 fixed rate. And it's maybe more now. Maybe it's more like
Yeah.
$2,000, but it's kind of the basic living trust.
Yeah.
So that it's not, because
I love that.
my understanding is when you go to an attorney looking to set up a trust, there's tons of add-ons.
That's exactly 100%.
Yes.
I heard that, yes.
Yeah.
Upsell.
And it's kind of like buying a car. The price you leave with is nowhere near the price
Maybe
you
we
started
can
at.
negotiate something about that. So
I mean,
that, like,
I
our
think
viewers can
it's
get
important.
a reasonable price, like a set price
Look,
or something.
People are dying in escrow every day.
Yeah.
So that's really the moral of the story is protect your assets. You never know when an unfortunate incident could happen. And most of us have families that depend upon us. So
Yeah. I think that's the biggest
Benny,
takeaway.
we really appreciate having you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
We're going to have you soon again
Yeah,
because we
more
were
stories to
bantering and we got way more stuff to talk about. Thank you. Over and out. And until next time.
Yeah, follow us on all the social media channels, and we look forward to our next story next week.
You guys were awesome.
Real estate is crazy.